All right, we're live. Welcome to World of Conan. Once again with Zero Sum, Brother Screen. We're not doing an intro right now because the last video cut off, so we're just gonna jump in to where
Copyright
we left
bots
off.
bit off a chunk of the last video.
Yeah, we got too carried away showing the movie there, but as I guess, just got carried away showing it. Didn't think old movie nobody would care, but I guess the algorithms.
Yeah. Well, I use the end music for the Sword and Sorcerer when I did my review of it for like the ending, and that did get me a copyright strike on that one. Luckily, it didn't cause me problems in that, but
it's not always like that. People think that it's a person there that goes. It's an algorithm that checks all the time for copyrighted material or other people's videos, so that someone just doesn't just copy someone's video and just reuse it and try to make money that way. So it's not a person all the time that's checking, oh, you got a copy, oh, I hate your video, you used my stuff. It's not like that. It's an algorithm. It's a computer program that just searches for stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see, where were we? We got to share screen first. Share this screen. Oh no, wait. Like this? Yes.
Let's go full screen.
Put full screen. Oh. It immediately started. All right. Should be, it's a bit low quality anyways.
Well, who knows? Maybe that'll help.
Right. So we're just before going into the...
honestly, you should probably mute the movie. That might probably help.
Yeah.
We would want to avoid a repeat.
Yeah. But we're not going to show a lot of, a lot of the scenes.
Corinne, I haven't heard you breaking up.
No, everything's fine. Seems to be completely fine here.
Okay, because things are breaking up on my end.
Oh, no.
I don't understand. My internet's been great all day. But...
Right. Let me see one thing. I'm going to check if I can share it in another way. Like this? No. Let me see. I know, riveting content. No, I don't. Last time, for some reason, I was able to share the screen and show us alongside of, but that way I also saw myself there as well for some reason. But so it didn't go to another.
Well, it seems to be doing that right now. This is as far as I can see.
No, but I meant that I could see you guys. I can't see you guys right now, so that's the problem. I just,
Oh, and here I was about to take my shirt off and do a strip dance.
All right, nice.
We almost ended up doubling our views from the female audience.
Yeah. From 0.1 to 0.2.
Oh, yeah. Hot French Canadian action.
Well, yeah, I gotta probably check that out some other time, how to see this, how this works, because I just wanted so I can see you guys, so we can interact more easily. But I guess we'll just move on. Anyway, so we are at the scenes right before going down to the basement, or what would you call it? Cave dwelling? I don't know. What would you call
It felt a bit more like, a cistern or something like that. Typically for these kinds of castles, you'd have like places where they build up either water or aqueducts or some kind of, sewage system or something like that. It's not exactly clear, but...
His room at his mom's place is what I call it.
It's not the torture chamber, because that was a different place.
Mhm.
The torture chamber. So I don't even know what the purpose of the place is. Maybe it is like a water. I don't know.
A water temple.
Water temple.
Oh
yeah.
god,
No clue.
that's got to cause some traumatic flashbacks to a certain selection of the population right there.
Water trauma? What do you mean?
That's the water temple from Zelda.
Oh. All right. So we're basically... Oh, man. Let me see. Yeah. So this is like... This the moments before the reveal of Zuja.
Mm-hmm.
Count Macelli, I think his name was.
Yeah.
And to Princess Alana, who thinks at this time that he is on board with the rebellion. We talked about this, the triple cross. I think it's
because a double cross isn't cool enough.
Well, of course not.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about this. It's a triple cross here. There's
playing all sides against the middle.
Yeah, fooling Cromwell, fooling the rebellion, and I guess would that be fooling? Talon?
Well, I don't think fooling Talon, because I don't think he's even aware of Talon at this point.
Right, he's not even aware. Is it a triple cross then? Why am I thinking triple cross? Maybe it's just a double cross.
Well, he's a double cross is if you pretend to be on one person's side and then betray them. But here he's pretending to be on two different people's. There's three different groups involved. So, yeah, he's betraying two out of the three. So that's a triple cross.
All right.
Ish.
Maybe. Anyway, let's do this. Let's go. So anyway, they come down to the whatever this is called. But anyway, the guy who plays Count Macelli is fantastic. What was his name again? It's George Maharis.
And he's got fantastic eyebrows.
Plastic or fantastic?
Fantastic.
Fantastically plastic eyebrows.
Right. All the budget went into the
Indeed they did.
Into the toupee.
Oh god. I mean, it is a really good toupee. Let's face facts.
Yeah. The kings have a bit worse. It's like a helmet with the kings, the foreign kings. Those were a bit bad. But let's see.
What are you doing?
Right, this is
You await Cromwell.
Because he wants everything Cromwell's got and then some.
Yeah.
Simply
he wants his pound of flesh with interest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we were talking about is he even interested in the princess in that way? Maybe. Well, didn't we think that it's even more just like a status, a slave? Like
Cromwell wants her, so therefore he wants to make sure he doesn't get her, and he wants to really rub it in.
Yeah.
I mean, does Zusha even have a dick at this point?
I mean, that's the point. Yeah, just like he doesn't show any inkling towards anything except to getting power, ruling, betraying everyone. It doesn't seem like he's an ancient being, so he doesn't.
Yeah, he is above such mortal peccadillos.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I mean, think about it like this: if you would have, let's say, power like Superman, or even beyond that, much further than that, like such power would probably be so great. Like, why would you even think about small things? Like, for us maybe they're not small, but for such a person, such things wouldn't really seem to matter.
Well, a lot of people who gain power in history and in various stories are often driven by their very impulses because they're driven to excess. They lose their self-restraint along the way because, well, I can do it, I have the power. So it could be, we could look at it from that point of view, but I do wonder with Zusha because he doesn't, as this point pointed out, he doesn't have a dick.
Right. But I didn't mean like a regular king or something. No. I meant basically a god or someone who's close or going towards that place in power. Why would you?
Yeah.
Like,
more than human. He's more than a man, but less than human.
Yeah.
So such a person wouldn't really care about such matters that a human would be interested.
I mean, he's literally come back from the grave at this point. His definitions of his pyramid of needs is probably pretty different from the average, flesh and blood normal normal mortal here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. So, in that sense. But anyway, let's see further on.
That is my destiny. You can be part of it or a victim of it.
Yeah, great lines.
And then we see where the budget didn't just go with. Well, first we get her final nut shot.
Oh yeah. Let's see if we can find it
right here. There it is.
This.
And it's like, bitch, are you for real?
It's like the black stare of the plague or something.
And there's that. It reinforces that, like the first time she does it, okay, it's a thing she did one time. Then she does it to Cromwell the second time, and now there's this. Hey, we have an additional member of the crew.
Yep.
But there it's like, okay, you've established she has this thing she does in the first place. You reinforce it the second time, and then you bring it back for the third time, but then you twist it, and it's completely ineffective. That's just like, good classic storytelling beats right there. And it's done in the name of a nutshot joke.
Yeah, because she did it to Talon, right?
No, she did it to the one of the bad guys who was trying to capture her, but that's when Talon appeared.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't she do it to Cromwell?
Yeah, afterwards.
Yeah, Cromwell.
What?
Right.
What I'd like to see at some point is for this sort of joke to kind of be played in an actual fantasy story, except where the guy's wearing a crotch guard.
Yeah, proper codpiece.
Yeah, his codpiece. So he'd basically be wearing plate mail there, kick, and ow!
No. You kick the person right into that crotch guard, and it goes bong, and everybody just has a moment like, then keep fighting.
Even worse if there was a knife or something down there.
Oof.
Or, well, that's historically happened quite a few times.
Yeah.
Or you have the female character knee into the plate mail, and then you follow with her. As her and the heroes go to walk away, she's limping away because of an injury to her leg.
Yeah, that would be funny. That's what I meant. Like, that'd be hilarious. But yeah,
something.
Now, I don't really like the term subversion, especially given what's come to mean in recent years.
Yeah,
but this sort of subversion,
surpassing expectations.
Yeah. Not subverting per se, but this is surpassing.
One of our expectations is good quality, and unfortunately, that gets subverted often enough along with everything else. So, but surpassing expectations, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, and also subversion, subverting has become like, oh, let me do a gimmick, and I'll just flip it because that's the nobody has done that. They think so, but it has no story meaning, and it only just destroys the story and deconstructs and stuff like that. So
and they're also basically when they do it, it makes this. It's the most boring possible option where everybody can see it. And they're like, "Oh, isn't it surprising?" No, not really. We all saw it coming.
I mean, it's only surprising the first time someone does it. After that, it just becomes another cliche in a long line of other cliches.
There's only one person, in my opinion, that truly succeeded at this kind of at Subversion. Mel Brooks.
Okay, fair. But was he subverting
Was he?
expectations? Or passing?
He made Nazis funny, so that's that. There's that in his
Oh,
favor.
right, yeah. I don't know if I've seen that movie.
You're the audience. I am the author. I outrank you.
The producers, right?
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Springtime.
For some reason, I haven't seen it. I don't know why.
See Hitler on ice.
And then you have the Jewish Mel Brooks making an entire song of the Inquisition.
I did see wait before him. I did see The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
That final speech he gives at the end is just like,
Oh,
that is beautiful.
Yeah, okay, that's subverting expectations because you don't expect such an important speech, but like it's not it's not a speech like, oh, here they're lecturing to me. No, it's really heartfelt. Like it really comes. You feel
and
like
coming from an actor who's normally the character
yeah.
who's normally silent during the entire film.
Yeah. But you know what I mean. It doesn't feel like forced or like oh let me write something that's like speaks to all humanity or something like that. But it actually feels like it comes from the heart of Charlie Chaplin. He actually because the war is raging on and he obviously doesn't want people to die, so he tries to reach in a way for people to stop the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Hitler watched that movie 2 times in a row.
Well,
on his own, not with anyone else. On his own, with a translator, but nobody else. Which is quite telling. He doesn't want to be shamed.
The guy had a bit of an ego problem at the very least.
Oh yeah, I think that's one of the least of the things. He had so many problems, and at the end, he was so drugged up. You don't even like. He was on like 30 drugs at the end.
Like serious amphetamine user.
Have you seen that clip? I know we're going off tangent, but I just wanted to ask: have you seen that clip where he's in the Berlin Games, and he's going like this?
Oh yeah, he's doped up to the eyeballs.
Yeah, he's going like this. That means you're on speed, I think, or meth. I think you're on meth.
I mean, methamphetamines came out around that time.
Yeah. So he's doing like this. This is the meth-like thing you do. You constantly. It's like whoa. And this guy is leading like a several million man army that is
poorly
bent on destruction.
It's the Olympics.
Everybody's on drugs, but
well, okay, maybe at that time.
It's a good point.
But that said, it's a surprise.
That's a great excuse. Hitler was on drugs. Well, everyone was at that time, so who cares?
It was a style at the time.
Yeah. Let him go on. Let him go on.
It's interesting how many totalitarian leaders often end up on drugs and just being total drug addicts.
Oh yeah, well JFK is a notable example. He had certain disease that required constant steroid kind of thing to treat, and that's why he had that particular look. Not to mention other people, the number of alcoholics in politics. Let's face facts.
It's because they
coke fiends.
Well, they're trying to cope with their demons because someone deep in the dark depths of their souls and the darkest of nights, they realize they're evil and they're undeserving of even their lives. So they need to drink to drown the pain and the sorrow and the guilt.
Haven't they ever just tried, hookers and cocaine?
I know.
No,
right?
That's the same thing.
But my understanding is it's a little bit more fun.
And yet, what's funny is Charles de Gaulle, the head of France, never needed booze or anything like that to have a great time. So obviously, he didn't feel too much guilt. He had no reason to.
He just had to go across the channel and argue with the leader there.
Yeah, that was his equivalent of getting a fix. But
great use of taxpayer money. Using it all on cocaine.
But probably the best leader of the 20th century.
I'm pretty sure someone could get elected on a basic idea of vote for me and I'll use your tax money to buy myself a mountain of cocaine. Someone's been probably going to be willing to vote for that because at least it's honest. I'm gonna do like
Uh,
forward face slide down a mountain of cocaine.
I think most people, they want to believe that someone actually wants to change or is able to change. The problem isn't really that the system that are in place, those who are not elected but are selected, they hold so much power. So even if you are elected, you can't really do much when you get there, because you're one person and there's 100 person who have their jobs that have been selected, and they choose everything. You can't
Yeah.
really, you can't make a much difference. At least that's what I've heard and seen. A lot of people who have been voted to be a congressman or congresswoman, and they say, "Oh, I tried to vote this and this and make changes here and there, but no one would join me, or I couldn't really make a dent. Like nobody, that it's such a huge machine already.
The only
It's very difficult."
the only partitocracy, partitocratic government I've seen that is able to make it work, and I struggle with that term because it's a term I've recently heard, from what I've seen, has been Japan for the most part. But they have sub-factions within the same political party, which never loses an election. But the thing is with Japan is that the daimyo, the ruling bushi and samurai, did not simply disappear or get wiped out. They simply put themselves in new clothing, new paint. And they basically decide amongst themselves in their little council rooms, who to appoint to the office of prime minister, with the condition that he is to honor. They're basically to sort of debate amongst themselves the best policy for Japan. And it's always about what is best for Japan, no one else and nothing else. Right. And the other thing is, there's also when I talk to people in Japan, even today, they understand that these very powerful CEOs or daimyos are essentially proceeding with the mindset that if you rock the boat with the Japanese people and they start to protest, give in immediately. It's not worth it. We did something stupid because the Japanese don't like to protest. Because the next thing that happens after a protest is a political murder in Japanese history. So,
yeah, there was a very long period where government by assassination was very much a thing from Japan.
Yeah. So they basically
all over.
The rulers take the attitude, we have very bloody revolutions and assassinations in our history, and even the sacking of cities. So what we're going to do is we mollify the people, we protect them, and we serve them, but we also serve ourselves. And it's this weird social contract where the rulers have to serve the people and make sure that people are constantly employed, constantly have everything they want, while the people are to serve the better interest of the ruling class. And
the idea of being a win-win situation for everybody, but
Yeah.
And
first, the rubber has to meet the road in that case, and ideals typically fall prey to reality rather quickly.
Yeah. They're very ruthless. And I've heard rumors from some Japanese friends that if a political leader starts to prove himself to go against what the entire faction or party wants, sometimes he's disappeared. And there's a lot, like I wouldn't poke my nose too closely into a lot of Japanese politics because there's some the Japanese themselves are very, very cautious of it and find a lot
of political violence at all. So no, thank you.
Yeah.
But
meanwhile, back in the realm of fantasy violence.
Oh, I was going to say, but the political reality is in Japan, at least the upper classes and the lower classes have a kind of cultural agreement in quid pro quo, which so that sort of thing I think is probably good considering everybody's happy about it.
Direct democracy might be one good thing in Switzerland, but I don't know.
I think direct democracy is the best.
Depends, because then you get the
Yeah,
situation
I
where
know. Yeah,
if
yeah,
the
yeah.
majority of people want something horrible, you're gonna get something horrible.
It's like let's. Do you agree with taking away your rights to earn a living because you don't agree on a certain thing? Yes. It's like,
Fair
oh
enough.
no.
I
No
also
one-
think that such votes need to be regionalized. We don't want
Right.
the
Well,
city
yeah.
having to rule over the other side of the province, state, or country.
Yeah. But anyways, back to
Anyway,
fantasy politics.
Anyway, nuts
Wait,
to
shit.
knee to the nut to the nuts.
she hit him twice.
Ooh.
Oh, that's like.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Gotta make
gotta
sure.
double check. It's important to double tap as well. If zombie
Yeah.
always taught us anything,
Oh yeah, we got the
and then the reveal.
the reveal. Yeah. Like we were talking about last time before it cut off. The effects are really good.
Mhm. Yeah, everything to do with
Well
Zusha and all his magic and everything like that, and also the effects at the start, like the plague victims from his his epidemic that he used to just destroy Richard's armies at the start. I mean, the
Right.
effects on that look really gross, and I mean, let's
Yeah.
face it, that initial resurrection with the screaming faces.
Oh
Come
yeah.
on.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's classic '80s practical, effects like that.
Yeah, I think those faces that's still like really horrifying, like
Oh,
really
yeah.
well made, otherworldly. I think they just complement even with the kind of like rubbery feeling to the faces.
Oh yeah, well the rubber and whatever they kind of put some kind of like clear mucus over everything to really
Yeah.
give them glisten.
Yeah, really a good idea. Whoever came up with the design for the sarcophagus.
Yeah, I'm
So-
looking up who worked on these special effects. If I can find it.
There was a really good special effects guys working in the 80s. Like, was it a Botin guy who made
Yeah,
the
Rob
thing?
Bottin, yeah.
Who made the thing? All
Mhm.
that crazy stuff. Yeah.
Let's see. According to IMDb, you have John Carter, funny, Floyd Keeney, Harry Woolman, special effects consultant,
Martian.
Chuck Henderson, Richard Washington. Nobody I know particularly, but they've did some damn good work on this. Brian Bevis and Jill Rockow, uncredited.
James Cameron also started with in the 80s with all these
Mhm.
special effects stuff.
Yeah, he worked on Roger Corman's Galaxy of Terror as special effects guy.
Yeah. That's where he got noticed, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. They're great. We get let's see, the
Oh, the sound effects too. Oh, this is the best part. Like that, his eyes turn black and
right.
and she's
that's
like just
pretty-
paralyzed in terror.
Yeah, that's pretty horrifying.
And then he does this whole mind whammy thing.
Yeah.
Then
Then we get the fight scene first with Cromwell intervenes, but he gets flung.
Yeah, it's not so much a fight scene as a curb stomp.
Yeah.
as a
basically
parent
just-
hunting their redheaded stepchild.
Boom.
He just flies to the side.
Yeah, just you're not going anywhere.
Hey, going. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Zero, how's your throat?
How's my throat? It's doing better. For those who don't know, I've had a bit of a sore throat and just general unpleasantness in the whole sinusial area for the last week. So,
Oh,
Pleasant.
but it's been going a lot better now.
Okay.
nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
He's
right.
just
Yeah.
torturing him.
Yeah, he's basically at the point of killing Cromwell.
Yeah, but he's taking his time with it, of course, because he's the bad guy, and that's what bad guys do. It's not enough just to kill a. What's that line from I'm paraphrasing from Discworld? It's like, if someone's going to kill you, hope it's a villain, because he'll take time to make you suffer, to gloat, to monologue. If it's a good guy, he'll just kill you right then and there. Second without a word.
There's actually a point there,
yeah.
And Cromwell's probably hoping for it to end soon because, he's staring at nail polish. And no guy likes to stare at that. At least not without getting some action. And, well,
E.T., fuck you!
Darth E.T., I was just thinking that.
Yeah. But this is before E.T., so...
Oh, there you go. Spielberg, you are Albert Pyun.
I think E.T. was 84, right? 84, yeah.
Let's look at that.
I think it was 84. Starman came out at the same time.
Well, Spielberg has a history of copyright infringement and plagiarism, so...
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Came out in 1982, E.T.
Was it 82? Oh, no.
Yeah. June 11th, 1982.
Oh, no way. For some reason, I thought it was 84. Maybe it's because... Right.
And the Sword and the Sorcerer came out in 82 as well.
Yeah.
Coinky dink?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were talking about in the last stream before this, at least one point that I just thought about is was Zusha thinking about like taking over Cromwell's body, like he would become Cromwell, like the outer appearance would be Cromwell. Like
I could.
Would he rule all his kingdoms as Zusha, like all looking like gross and all that stuff, or would he transform himself into Cromwell and rule as Cromwell? That was like my idea. Like I was wondering that because in one point in the movie he said like I will become you or something like that, whatever it was.
Well, his flesh will be mine and stuff.
Yeah, his flesh will be mine, and that was like such an interesting line. So I was thinking, did he mean like more about it with that line? But maybe
it could be interpreted either way.
It's either that or he totally wanted Cromwell.
I'm just reading into it, but I don't know.
Yeah, either that or he'd grow back as McKelly disguise, because that character is already known throughout the realm as particularly as a power broker within the kingdom. So it would make sense to maintain that identity as well.
Yeah, because wouldn't it be kind of like difficult if he would be seen as a ugly demon going around? You all gotta wouldn't that be like take a lot of work to get people to align with you, because they would naturally want to gang up and kill him, like just because.
Admittedly, being an 8-foot tall, horrible monster man does tend to not attract very many friends.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like maybe we easier.
It'd be hard for him to just go off on vacation to the beach without causing a bit of
a scare.
You can't find even a booth where to change your clothes.
Now I'm imagining Zusha wearing like a bathing suit, wearing sunglasses with a towel over his shoulder, just like rocking down to the beach.
I was thinking slippers.
And he's got his slaves behind him with the parasol and everything. And an extra pair of flip-flops. Oh god, imagine Zusha wearing flip-flops.
I can see it.
No. Zusha wearing Crocs.
And he's like, give me the drink.
Butter.
Give me the drink.
And there he is, like he's sitting under a parasol with a coconut margarita.
He's using his red hand, give me the drink.
While humming, what's that Swedish singer's name? Gunther, Tutti Frutti Summer Love or something.
Yeah.
Okay, we broke zero. I can't drink right now.
Zusha and Gunther kind of look alike.
Hey, pass the tanning butter.
He wouldn't need sunscreen, because he's already burned.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't know about burnt. He's got more of a slime coating.
All right.
I have no quarrel with you.
Oh.
Well, too bad.
Of course.
Yeah, it's like, I have no quarrel with you. Zusha's mine.
Now we have a quarrel.
Now we
did
have
he
a quarrel.
say? What did he say?
My way.
Oh, right. Yeah, he said Cromwell is mine, right?
Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm willing to let you go, but I need to kill this guy. No, I need to kill this guy. And okay, instead of going like, you want to share?
This is where we get to the MacGuffin, the shooting sword.
Yeah.
And this is
Rescue
really the
staying.
part that shows he's an anti-hero and Zusha's a villain because neither of them are willing to share. A real
No.
hero would have been willing to say, so how about we share and we kind of both kill him and double
Well,
tap.
We
I
cut them in half. We flip for it. Whoever gets heads gets the head. Whoever gets tails gets the tail.
There's
Tail.
also
Well, I think that in this case, Talon definitely, I think, is more the hero because he wants to kill Cromwell, but he doesn't want to see him die like that. Like, whatever Zusha be doing to him, he's like, no, this guy needs a clean death. I'm not letting this kind of magical crap happen on my watch. Why? Because I'm a fucking good guy.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Conan would have just flipped for it. Or walked
Nah, I'm
away.
pretty sure Conan would have tried to kill the sorcerer anyway, too. He's been in
Oh,
that
he
guy's
hates
situation.
sorcerers.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's one thing. It's one thing to kill a man. It's another thing to strip out his immortal soul and devour it and shit like that.
He's
That is
occasionally
true.
occasionally
That
led
is true.
villains, to their fate. He's occasionally done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
saying.
but Zero, that's a really good point. I think that might be like one of the read between the lines kind of things. Conan probably is like, you're doing something beyond, like, we just kill people like normal people, but you're actually tampering with his immortal soul or something like that. You're actually like,
There's a
doing
difference in Sword and Sorcery between just like the mundane stuff, the corruption of regular bad guys like greedy merchants or power hungry kings. Sorcery in a Sword and Sorcery in the Howardian Sword and Sorcery tradition is a whole other level. This is corruption that extends into the very fabric of reality itself and blackens and despoils everything around it in ways that can't really be remedied, except through cold steel through somebody's face.
I think that's because that's why they have such an affinity with Lovecraft.
Yeah.
With Lovecraft, they what were they called, like the old ones, and they
I
have
wonder,
that like madness and darkness, impenetrable darkness.
I wonder if there's, to an extent, supposed to be a bit of a. Now, I don't see many writers of Conan doing this, but I wonder if we shouldn't maybe take a look at Howard's Legendarium, especially with Conan, and kind of relate the notion that the sorcerers are, in a way, a representation of modernity or something. And you know what I mean? Like, they represent civilization and the onward, the going forward of it and the advance of it. Just as Tolkien kind of portrays a lot of the Industrial Revolution and modernity as evil.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. There is quite a bit of civilization having a corrupting influence.
No,
but
good to civilization, the good is representing Gondor and Apollonia. I mean, like, the concept within modernity that we have that isn't so positive.
Well, you could say that, but the influence of sorcery in the Howardian, the Hyborian Age, is found both in the civilized and less civilized areas. Stygia is like a sorcery run theocracy, but the Picts are as well. They're thoroughly corrupted by contact with the outer darkness and stuff like that. At least at that point in history.
They have
so you have that same kind of thing happening throughout.
Followers of Mitra using magic.
Magic can be used for good,
rarely,
but it could very easily corrupt.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the basic idea is that magic's not good. It's not necessarily 100% evil, but it ain't good. So you're using this shit as you're at your risks and perils.
That was a good point.
You're literally violating the laws of physics here. So there's going to be some consequences.
I
Good
think
point about Stygian and picked same god.
Yeah.
Set
I
just
have
another
noticed
name.
though is in a lot of ways sorcery, both with Conan and I'll even venture to say with Tolkien, was that it's kind of the easy way out,
Mm.
and the heroes typically avoid that.
Yeah.
Take the harder road.
There's also I was just gonna say there's also the part that specifically the sorcerers usually who Conan goes up against, they sacrifice their soul, or they destroy themselves, giving themselves completely to the corruption and the darkness. So it really like destroys the reality, the fabric of who that person is. They become.
And then they start
basically
giving other people up to it as well.
Exactly, like so. There's a lot of things like almost like destroying the laws basically.
Yeah. Well, the whole kind of ethos of the sorcerer is imposing one's will upon reality and having reality change in accordance. So from there, seeing people as something you can do the same to is just a skip and a jump. In fact, it probably comes before that. To have the mastery of magic is to have the mastery over men and the world around you.
Yeah. Basically, why would you want
ultimately
mastery of magic unless you want to use it on something, on people and stuff like that?
Yeah, but ultimately reality will reimpose its will upon you.
Via a big burly guy with a big ass sword.
Exactly.
Yeah, they never expect the sword to the throat.
They never do.
Which is
or the axe to cleave
sword,
their
the
heads off.
axe. Yeah.
Yeah, the knife to the back.
Or the imp falling down into the volcano.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Or a hammer to the head. But yes.
That's not about Gimli.
So then we get the sword launch.
Yeah. And this is the second time we've seen this particular Zusha do this particular move. We have it introduced early on that witch that helped resurrect him, who he just does the whole, your heart is mine thing. But here, instead, you're dealing with someone with a lot more physical stamina and heftier constitution who can take it long enough to wield his blade in defense.
And will. I guess this is also like a parallel to Conan, because Talon has a will to overcome, the cross thing, which was similar to Conan. And here, same as in Conan, when Thulsa Doom tries to manipulate at the end, Conan to drop the sword. I'm your father, actually. I gave you this, and he has to fight and go over because
that hypnotic influence.
Yeah, because Thulsa Doom at that point isn't not only using words, but he is actually using his magical powers. His hypnotic. It's a lot more than just basic.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing he did to his mom before he chopped her head off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same kind of thing where he's just like staring into the eyes and you will obey me. It's like,
exactly. Yeah, this is a classic shot in this movie, I think.
Yeah, the triple blades rising.
And you see his eye through it. So it's a really cool shot there.
The cinematography in this movie is excellent throughout, really.
Yeah, I really like it. And like we talked about, there's a good pacing. Has like we said, the beginning is fantastic. Like a beginning is really crucial to any movie. How you start a movie. Like, have you guys seen For a Few Dollars More, the Sergio Leone movie?
Yeah.
No.
The Western. Oh,
fix
incredible.
that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Fix that immediately. But anyway, the start of that movie is fantastic, and it sets the tone of that movie completely. And it is very unique. I haven't seen another movie start with that kind of kind of similar afterwards, maybe, but it still is really unique, in my opinion, and fantastic. opening, and it shows the world and what this movie is all about.
Yeah.
So it's
Plus, Lee Van Cleef is a
incredible.
good guy, so that's always nice.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's true. That's the guy who plays the villain is my favorite in that movie. He's so good. I just Gian Maria Volonte.
Yeah.
Incredible actor.
Known in the
Incredible
U.S. as
actor.
John Wells, depending on the translation in certain movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, you know how it is with Italian movies in those days. They always like sometimes they change the names of the actors for international markets and stuff like that. But
that's true. That's true. I didn't think his wasn't changed, but anyway, he was just fantastic in them.
Yeah, and he also played the bad guy in the previous movie, If It's Full of Dollars.
Yeah,
too.
that's true. But he was
always
much
the fun
better
thing
in
about that. But he was a completely different character. So
yeah, and much better. I actually prefer the second movie to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I know that's offensive to many people, but you know,
well, they're two very different movies.
Yeah, I knew. I love them both a lot, but for some reason, the second one has like an emotional impact that is really.
Well, it's
and the
far
music.
more. Yeah, it's far more personal. Just the conflict between Colonel Mortimer and El Indio versus it's three guys off to find a lost cache of gold during the Civil War. It's not as personal a story because they don't really have. They have relationships between each other, but there's not a central conflict that's driving them to go out against each other. They're all just going for the same treasure.
And the music just hits me more in the second movie. The watch.
Oh yeah, the music box thing.
Yeah, this just I don't know. It's incredible. But anyway, back to the Sword and the Sorcerer. We get the
and
Nerf.
So that takes him out.
Did you hear Dan?
What?
It's Nerf or nothing.
Oh, they should totally have made a Nerf sword launcher.
All right, yeah.
Like a Nerf gun that shoots swords. That is just obvious.
Yeah, that's true.
I couldn't help but think of those commercials whenever they fired it. It just seemed a little.
I mean, it's obviously a gas powered launcher like that. So
It isn't unfeasible to make a toy for the market on that.
No.
Yeah. I mean, the Spetsnaz had a knife gun, so why not this?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Although in that case, it was more like the single 7.62 millimeter bullet in the hilt that you could just like.
All I'm gonna say is I didn't say it, so people don't unsub or blame me for what Dan did or said. It's his fault. Him and Zero.
Yeah.
They said the Nerf gun joke. I did nothing.
I think the smaller studios.
They already know what you did.
Touche.
I think the smaller studios weren't really into the merchandising so much.
Actually, wait a sec. I think there was.
Uh-oh.
I don't think they were that much. I mean, some, I guess, known IPs, but otherwise, like Sword and Sorcery was still quite an obscure thing in a movie. So,
because I vaguely remember there was something. But
from this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean,
I could be completely wrong about it being an official thing, but let's see.
I mean, like modern stuff, yeah, but
yeah,
back then, I don't know.
I think it would have been a very limited thing, but I just vaguely remember seeing while I was doing research for the movie review I did something mentioning the actual triple blade sword being like a toy thing or something. But nah, I can't find it anymore. So,
right. Yeah, I would think. Yeah, it was such a surprise hit and obscure movie anyway, and a small studio.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be done. But anyway, then we get to the fight here at the end. One of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion, at least, is this epic
Right.
last fight.
Where Talon totally cheats by constantly drawing new weapons out.
Yeah, but I mean, Cromwell does as well, though.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
pulls out the scepter and goes double switchblade scepter.
True. But the real hero who always stuck to their original weapon and kept using it and kept succeeding is obviously the girl. She deserves a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, her martial arts skills are up there.
Spies.
Yeah, especially her crotch kick.
Crotch foo.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. He shoots that off to the side.
Yeah, that's another thing that really proves he is the hero. He's not an anti-hero, of the, like, oh, I'm a brooding bad guy, but really I do good in spite of it. No, he is a classical hero. He's roguish, but he has a sense of honor and a sense of, duty and stuff like that. He doesn't break his word. He doesn't, fight dishonorably. He's, straightforward guy. He's just a bit of a dick sometimes.
Yeah.
And I also think he wants to savor the the victory.
It's like
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
shoot you here. I'm gonna actually beat you. So you
yeah,
know
I got something to prove to myself here. I ran away when I was a kid. Now I'm back.
Oh yeah, that was
You're going down.
Yeah. But also to him, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna show you I'm way better than you. Yeah.
Let's finish it.
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
So then we get the
Yeah.
fight with great music here.
Yeah, great music, great spark effects on those swords too. Which I think implies that Cromwell's sword is also somewhat enchanted or something like that, because unlike those other swords that when he did the whole swing through 3 of the guardsmen's blades and they shattered,
Oh, that could be actually.
it would make sense.
You're right. I didn't think about that. You're right. That could easily be.
Yeah. There's also the implication that these kind of trick weapons are a bit more common than might, just like they're not one-off things. Lord of Lek, hey.
Hey, Lord Lek. Nice to see you.
Really
man.
glad you guys did this and made me watch the film for the first time in decades, and it's better than I remembered. It is a damn fine movie.
Yes, sir.
It's in my top 3 of this genre for the 80s.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's so many good points here, like the beginning, the many double crosses, but the villains, Cromwell, Count Machiavelli, as I call it, Machiavelli. Great actor. He really outshines a lot of them here. And Talon, great hero or anti-hero, whatever you want to call him. Very, actually well casted, like roguish, but actually just the right amount. It's not easy to cast a roguish hero. A lot of people try, like the new Dungeons and Dragons movie. I mean, it was
They face
the roguish. Yeah, I mean they tried a roguish. But
I mean, it doesn't help that the company that created the IP also sent the Pinkertons after a guy for having the wrong magic cards. I mean, that's definitely the kind of publicity you don't want when your movie's coming out right around that time.
Yeah. But they always face plant and screw up their publicity. Wizards of the Coast, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's reiterate that. Wizards of the Coast sent the Pinkerton Investigation Agency after some dude because he accidentally received the wrong magic cards that he wasn't supposed to have at that time. Magic the Gathering cards. The Pinkertons. When's the last time you ever heard of the Pinkertons outside of the 1920s?
That's quite a huge drop from Jesse James.
It's just like,
we're fighting outlaws,
is
and now we're
Clown
going.
World real?
We're
The evidence is
searching
piling up
outlaws.
here.
You're searching outlaws, but now we're searching Magic the Gathering cards. That's hilarious. I hadn't heard about that for some reason.
But as for Sword and Sorcery casting, I think I'm still going to maintain the greatest of all times was Kevin Sorbo as Cole.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are a bit
Yeah.
biased. I mean, I love Kevin Sorbo. Don't get me wrong, and I think that's a fantastic movie. But I can acknowledge that a lot of people don't see it that way.
Yeah.
don't see Kevin Sorbo as I see him, because I as a kid used to watch him a lot in the Hercules series, and but what I mean is I understand his limitations. I do get his limitations.
Cole is watchable, but it's no Beastmaster
ignore-
Conan to 82.
I ignore it,
but I just think, yeah, Sorbo's always going to be Hercules. That's his greatest role. But I think his take
but that's
on
not what I
Cole,
meant.
yeah, I think his take on Cole, though, he did capture the character. He just needed Brawl to bounce off of.
Yeah. I mean, if they'd done the actual, Shadow Kingdom story instead of just doing Hour of the Dragon with Cull makeup, I mean, that would have been really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they should have done. Or maybe even a Cull series with Kevin Sorbo. With Shadow Kingdom. But I don't mind the Cull of the Conqueror movie plot. They could have done that. But I think that it should have led into a Shadow Kingdom story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there really just aren't enough snake people in movies these days.
No, there aren't.
Yeah. What? I mean, we have a lot of good ideas on how to write a Cull movie.
Yeah, because you've not seen many political leaders portrayed in cinema these days. So, yeah, there's not enough snake people.
There's not enough sword and sorcery movies.
Yeah, we basically just get David Icke to write the script for a sword and sorcery movie. It would be good.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh God. Oh, classic.
And cast James Purefoy or Henry Cavill in every role.
I think he could pull it off.
Cavill or Purefoy?
Both.
Yes.
Every single role.
Because Purefoy
For some
was
reason,
affected Solomon Kane.
I always, picture Cull. He's a brooding king.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely true.
We need someone like who's a lot can show that to be in his head, like.
I'm actually going to say Sorbo could pull it off, because in quite a few Hercules episodes, he does show a brooding.
I think someone invaded your house or something.
Worse, someone knocked. If someone just invaded the house, at least then they'd have a reason for barking.
Let's see. Lord Lex says, if Red Sonja, and that is a big if, is any good, it will open the door to more films, and maybe we'll get a decent Conan return.
Oh, agreed.
Indeed.
At this point, I have absolutely no idea.
I mean, there are completely different companies who own those projects, so one may not maybe lead to the other, or one's loss maybe not lead to one another. So
I'm just curious, real quick, as an aside, when is that Red Sonja movie going to drop?
I think it's filming right now.
At the very least, it's either in production or post-production at this point.
I'm going to search it.
Yeah. At least it has the same director as Solomon Kane.
Yeah, but then again, that movie was really good, and look how that one was treated by its production. It was basically delayed into a
no. It was purposefully destroyed by certain Hollywood types because they didn't get the deal to be producers on it. So it was purposefully destroyed, unfortunately.
All right. It looks like we might get a screw off. Sorry, I'm looking at a article. I should maybe do a video on this, but it looks like it's going to be released sometime late 2023. According to the writer.
Well, that's quite an
Well,
early.
fingers
actually.
crossed there'll be something pretty reasonably good, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
likely going to be around Christmas time, like many movies.
I'm gonna wager that it's gonna be decent.
I'm
Not
just looking.
not the greatest, but not the worst either. I think it's gonna be a decent movie. It's like,
Yeah.
It
Definitely
really
gonna have to do a
depends. It really depends on the story, and because we know the director has the chops to do it, so
Mm.
it really depends on if today's culture is gonna influence it at all. If not, then it depends on the story. If it's
Sword
any
of
good.
Lex is a good point.
Oh, hopefully not. That's quite a death sentence. Streaming service. Well, I mean,
It would be
not for Zack Snyder's Justice League, it wasn't, but for most things, a streaming service isn't.
It could
isn't
go
the
either
best.
way, really.
the goal was always fall of this year to match the 50th anniversary of the character. That actually sounds very likely. Although the first release was in 1973, February, with Conan the Barbarian, issue 23.
Here's the thing. I think it's gonna flop, actually, just for the reason that Red Sonja is very no. Red Sonja is very unknown, so it won't draw.
True.
I mean, if Conan flopped, Red Sonja is gonna have way bigger.
As my wife
steeper
says,
heels.
she is known in her house.
Yeah.
Well, there is one
The heel is
possibility that it might.
huge.
There is one way it might succeed. You got a fairly attractive lady in chainmail bikini, and that might draw the crowds.
A couple of
Nice.
good
It's-
reasons.
It's not gonna be chainmail bikini. I mean, trust on that.
Fair enough.
Plate mail
Yeah.
bikini.
Or whatever.
Anyway,
How
back
would
to
I-
the movie.
Yeah. And oops, Talon Sword gets chopped, which is not an
has
indication
more.
of his own masculinity. That's your inner Freud talking.
Yeah, he's just got more tricks up his sleeve, like a rogue
Exactly.
does. A rogue always has more knives, all kinds of stuff, more powders and stuff.
And admittedly, if his sword wasn't essentially hollow for having another blade in it, it might have stood up a better chance.
Oh, it was the 80s. You got to have all kind of nice gadgets.
Yeah.
I don't remember if his sword breaks or did he just transform it? Cromwell, I mean.
Let's find out. It should be happening relatively soon.
Oh, there.
Yeah, switch, pull it back a little bit. Okay. Yeah, he disarms him. Grabs the rod and switchblade. I have to wonder if all the royal families of these kingdoms have their own traditional trick weapons.
Probably.
Yeah, Richard's family has this triple blade that they pass down through the generations. Cromwell has the trick staff with the blades coming out of both ends. Probably those other guys, at the table who are going to get assassinated, they had to leave theirs at the door, but one guy has a mace that turns into like a buzzsaw or something.
One that ejects a lightsaber.
The budget's only about 70 million, right? Well, I mean,
Including
Here's the
marketing? Okay, that's... yeah, because
Yeah, but-
marketing they usually don't mention.
Yeah,
but
because
it still has
the budget.
it still has to make like 300 million to make even.
Probably.
Because you got to think they don't take 100% from movie theaters. They just take like, what is it, 25% or something like that. And if it goes to China gives only like, what is it, like 10% or 5% or something like that. They really don't give a lot if they get to China, I mean.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be a steep hill in either way.
Well, as it is,
costs
the
a
best
lot.
movie of the year is probably going to be Legend of the White Dragon.
Chinkini is making a semi-appearance, picks up and leaked of a Chinkini top paired with booty shorts, skirted bottom. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I mean that's what I figured. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I figured. Yeah,
That actually fits a little bit because originally in the Roy Thomas adaptation of the Shadow of the Vulture
Yeah.
that introduced Red Sonja as we know her, she was wearing a
Yeah.
male shirt with like booty
Yeah.
shorts. So
Yeah,
having
yeah.
this be a combination of the chainmail bikini look from Esteban Maroto with that works out rather well, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense. A complete bikini could look pretty ridiculous in real life. Running around.
Well, it all depends on context, really.
But you said, what was your favorite movie? Legend of the what?
No, I said the best movie that's probably going to come out this year is Legend of the White Dragon.
Wait, what's that?
It's a Power Rangers kind of movie by the main.
Oh, Power Rangers.
Yeah,
thank you.
Jason David Frank, his last film.
Oh, okay.
I'm very excited for that. It's coming out on September 4th.
Yeah, another good Texan that
Gave a lot to culture.
Right.
Mm.
Let's see. Lord Alexis, back to this movie. It's actually refreshing to see men wars with a regular build and not the crazy bodybuilder that looks to have become common in movies like Marvel.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the rogue hero.
Well, that too, and the whole bodybuilder thing really only started with Arnold in Conan. Really, that particular look became popular after that.
Yeah, that is.
He's the one who very much introduced that. Before that, you had action heroes, but they were more lithe and a bit more normal body type.
I mean, you did have those 70s Conan, the Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Conan
Yeah, but I
was
mean, in terms of like live action to the depictions and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Also, like Conan, how he was depicted in the 50s, he didn't look anything like Conan.
Or in the 30s, for that matter.
In those, he looked more like Talon looked.
Mm-hmm.
Looks here. He looked like. I guess how you would figure a guy like a Viking would look, or a person who lives in the north basically would look in the Viking age or something like that.
Yeah,
not a crazy buff guy.
Well, there's certain depictions on like the cover of Weird Tales and stuff like that where he's got very short black hair and he's just look like a medium build, but still kind of like built kind of guy. Like you look at the muscle, bodybuilders and strongmen from the 1930s, the kind of people who would have served a bit as a visual representation of this kind of person. They don't look anything like the kind of like scientifically engineered strongmen we have nowadays, who are like have the benefits of like decades worth of engineering and research into nutrition and workouts and stuff like that, and various chemical applications. Excuse me.
Also, I think that the idea comes from was it the Conan story Shadows in Zambula, where Conan strangles the Baal Petor guy.
Yeah, that's the one.
And he
the
says,
man-eaters of Zambula.
Oh yeah, the man-eaters of Zambula. Because it says, I've strangled wild boars when I was a young lad, basically in Cimmeria, and then he strangles this huge guy. So it it implies that he has quite a lot of strength, Conan, so that he would be at least kind of like Luke as a stronger guy, not just a regular build. I don't know. Maybe that's where, one of the places where they get the idea of Conan's look at also, not just a basic build. Nothing wrong with mass. It's the extreme definition that just looks unreal.
Yeah, the whole, I'm going to die of dehydration if I don't get a glass of water after the end of the scene being filmed.
Yeah, that is true. That's how I think Henry Cavill talked about that.
Yeah, well, that's a common thing for that. In order to get that kind of definition, you have to basically dehydrate yourself rather severely. It's not the kind of thing you can support for very long.
It's kind of crazy if you think about it. probably not feeling very well when you're doing that.
Well, anyways, on to the
Yeah.
action.
Yes.
So we get
And
these.
Cromwell.
Grabs his sword back. She's dealing with a
Grabs his
snake
sword.
problem.
So wait, he had another weapon then. He had like a rod or something. Like what did he had like two?
Well, he
weapons?
had his scepter, which contained some a pair of blades inside of it.
Oh right.
Then
yeah,
he loses that,
right,
grabs his sword
yeah.
again.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got
There's a lot. There's a very. We're kind of like chopping it up, obviously, so we're not showing the whole thing. It's a bit disjointed, but there's a lot of dynamism in this fight, and like people losing weapons, grabbing weapons, pulling new weapons out.
Yeah.
Her waking up with a python all over her.
Yeah, that just reminds me of Stygia. No, because in the Conan story it says like the Stygian, the snakes are crawling during the night in the cities in Stygia, and then they like worship them if they go past, and they hope to be or be eaten. Like that's a high honor to be eaten during the night, to be sacrificed basically. Oh, you got some food?
Yes, my wife insists on me not saying that she's wonderful. By the way,
Not saying what? Wonderful.
my wife doesn't want me to say she's wonderful on camera.
All right. Nice. At least someone gets food around here.
Yeah, there are fringe benefits to marriage.
Hey, then I make.
It's not just
damn
about the
sure
bling, you know.
our dog also gets food. So
Yeah.
he's also getting some food.
Right. Clive Stanley, Vikings close to him. Wait, who was Clive Stanley? It's been a while
Clive
since I saw
Stanton.
No idea.
Vikings.
Yeah, I can see that. Give him some slightly longer hair, kind of a square cut mane. He's definitely. I think he's got.
Oh, this guy, right, Rollo, right.
Actually, you know who would have made a great Conan? He played the Bulurif in 13th Warrior.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, we mentioned that, but
Oh,
he
yeah,
would
yeah,
make a great Conan.
Oh yeah, I brought that up. Yeah,
Yeah,
he would be fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's really a shame they didn't make him in the 90s.
Mm.
But you can watch the 13th Warrior and imagine that's Conan, basically. On his last
You should all
run.
watch that movie because it's freaking awesome. Vladimir
Oh,
Kulich,
yeah.
his name.
We should, we should really review that.
Yep.
Oh,
We
yeah.
should review that.
Well,
That's a movie of steel.
Yeah, it's
right there.
technically not a sword and sorcery movie, but
Who cares?
it's the kind of historical fantasy that is
It's
a direct
a fantasy
ancestor of
movie.
it. Yeah,
It's completely a fantasy
we're gonna
movie.
say it is.
yeah, it's Vikings versus
Yeah.
Neanderthals. So
Well, I mean, there's
Can
also
you-
like, is it Neanderthals? Like, there's like because they kind of make a distinction, if I remember correctly, that they're kind of like I don't know, like eaters
Well-
of the dead. They're kind of like shadow people or something. Like there was
Well,
something like
they're kind of like they're the descendants of surviving Neanderthals, at least according to the book, in Michael Crichton's book. But they're basically troglodytes. They're definitely not
there's something weird about them.
Yeah,
Something
they're not
weird.
quite fully Homo sapiens in the sense
No,
that
no,
they
no.
may have had captured some Homo sapien women over the time to rebuild their numbers and stuff like that. But there's definitely
Right.
something off that people sense when they're near them. The forehead brows are different, jawlines different.
Yeah.
They're
I
definitely supposed to be another subspecies of humans that have survived up to this
Right.
point in secret and preying upon their other nearby populations.
I kind of took them like a fantasy, a race, a completely different race that had been hidden, but now wanted to be like, or they became more aggressive, like so that they were becoming
Yeah.
a problem.
Well,
Like,
the whole idea
there's-
is, yeah.
Like there's trolls, in the Scandinavia. There's like in the mythology, like there's trolls or elves.
Yeah, the
something like
Dvergar, the Trollkarl,
that. Yeah.
Svaldargar. But yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
idea is that this is the true story that inspired the tale of Beowulf. So
Right.
these guys, all this tribe is basically Grendel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As Lord of the Lex says, the 13 Warriors are retelling of Beowulf.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the actual historical, even if he the actual historical guy along for the
Yeah.
ride to describe things too.
Oh, sure. Anyway, yeah, we got to do them. Yeah, this this fight scene is fantastic.
Yeah.
Really.
And
All right. Yeah, he even had that like basically a third weapon. He had the concealed knife.
yeah, a knife right up his in his wrist harness.
Classic rogue character.
Yeah. Takes him down.
This is definitely one of the best scenes in the movie. This, and also we come to, I guess, maybe the penultimate scene in the movie.
Yeah,
where-
well, yeah, it's the penultimate.
Yeah, the climax of the whole story, basically, that it boils down to this scene. And I think they did it brilliantly in this movie in that they didn't reveal to Cromwell, like, let's say 2/3 of the way into the movie, or at some other point, but they held off until the end to really sink it in at the end, like
Yeah.
the death scene. I think that was a great choice, good choice.
Because Talon doesn't really care up to that point that Cromwell knows who he is. He just that's like a final
Yeah.
little cross the eyes and dot the T's kind of moment at the end there.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. He doesn't really seem to care that much, in a way that he basically, during his travels, he kind of forgot about all the stuff. He basically grew out of
Yeah.
the need. But I mean, of course, the revenge is there. But
Yeah, it's like someone who's like, all right, I'll get back to this when I have time. First, I've got to become the kind of person who can pull it off. And by then, he's already built up a life for himself outside the kingdom. That's why he doesn't go back to actually taking over the kingdom, which is technically his birthright, obviously.
yeah, exactly.
But he's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I have spent the last, decade and some change growing as a person. This isn't what I want. I've got more adventures to have, but I do have this one bit of unfinished business to take care of.
There's also the argument, of course, because it's a movie, so it's all condensed. But you could make it that the whole story is actually taken like a year or 2 years. This whole rebellion, the fight, and all the stuff that happens. So it might be like finally get this thing over. But anyway, Lord of Lex says the costuming really is great. Looks dated, but Jesus, it looks really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we get to this scene.
That final moment. He's just like looking up straight in the eyes like there.
I think the music is great. Like it gives that anticipation. That's a nice touch. The music is good in this. I gotta give credit to guy. What happened to music making in movies? I don't get it. They all completely lost it, and except a few guys just have it left. But for the most part, it's completely lost, like everything else. It seems. I don't get it.
I think outside of two historic fiction films, possibly 3 I've seen in the past 10 years, I can't think of a single movie that has had any decent soundtrack or a moving one since maybe Solomon Kane. That one had a great soundtrack. I mean,
Lord of the Rings was pretty kick-ass.
Oh yeah, but that's already 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Man,
I
it's
said
been that long.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like
It's been 20 years.
Damn.
The entire music doesn't work, so they need to learn to let it go.
I like the Dune soundtrack, but it wasn't perfect. Or like
It didn't have very memorable motifs or anything like that. The recent Dune.
the
it's
best
like
was the fight or when they invade. I
Yeah,
thought that was the best.
a very impactful soundtrack, but it isn't very memorable.
Yeah, I like the way evokes the otherworldliness of the
Never
But then
heard
again,
it.
you don't. But you don't get that whole da 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 da. That
Oh
was
yeah,
the
yeah,
Lynch
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. I
'Cause
love the
that's the
original
difference.
soundtrack.
The
Yeah,
Lynch movie soundtrack, the Lynch movie,
Oh,
regardless of
fire.
what you think about
Fire.
it, the faults it has, and it has many. The soundtrack on that one is memorable as hell.
It's fire.
Yeah.
I love the prophecy theme. If you
Mhm.
remember that goes really high when they have landed on you. Oh man, that's so good. That's so good. The look of that movie is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
just really like it. But yeah, this great. Allez,
Who are you?
great the music here. It's great.
Son of Richard.
Son of Richard.
It's like, wait, huh? It's like, oh, that's, ugh.
Your dad was a dick.
And then he
Yeah.
just like topples over.
It makes he like
He's
like,
finally brought down by the weight of his realization.
yeah, but he kind of like also like he kind of like
You died
now
to
it
dick
makes
his
sense.
boy.
It's like, yeah, I deserve this. Aw.
Yeah, like now it makes sense. Everything makes sense. He's like,
Mm.
okay, I understand now. I can die.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about talent. That's another thing. He's a good guy. He doesn't just. He could have like not said that and just like, who are you? Just
Oh,
smiled
mama.
at him, and then he dies, like, never knowing, just to
Mhm.
rub it in. But no, he gives him the satisfaction of finally, understanding. Okay, this is what you did wrong. This is why
Yeah.
you're dying. You can die now.
You've been a
Yeah,
very,
great
very
scene.
naughty boy. So
Yeah.
you made
Very very well acted by Cromwell, the guy who plays Cromwell, and Talon.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Well,
Lord Lex
everybody in
says,
this movie's been good.
oh yeah. Lord Lex says it's rare to have an actual score in movies today and have a great score. It was always rare. Well, I kind of disagree on that part, but tough to think of a good one. 80s have like RoboCop,
80s are great ones.
Total Recall,
That's good.
let's see, Aliens, Terminator. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the list goes on.
Oh yes.
The list goes on. Predator. I love the Predator soundtrack. There's so many good ones, and it all seems to handle back to the 80s for some reason.
Mhm.
90s also had some good soundtracks as well.
Yep.
Definitely.
You must not just defeat the enemy, you must let him come to the knowledge he has been defeated and he was always going to fail. Yeah. There's, like we're talking about the last time, there's something very operatic about this movie as well.
Yeah.
Especially at the fight at the banquet. And this last part actually made me also think with the music swelling, but keeping the anticipation and swelling a bit, and it really harkens back to that mythological the final encounter with the bad guy coming to realization, but in the music showing also the realization and with the scene and letting it speak, so it's not just like
Drowned in dialogue or
yeah, exactly. Or this, I hate this snappy dialogue. Not
yeah,
everything has to
it's
be
very
snappy
laconic.
dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The trouble is
snappy dialogue everywhere. It's crazy.
they're just so obsessed with one line. Definitely got tired of the 1,000,001 Joss Whedon one-liners
Yeah.
Mm.
that have just been the norms in the past. How many years?
Yeah, Lord, like yeah, that's true. But yeah, the snappy dialogue. Especially now, everyone tries to emulate Marvel movies. Having
Yeah.
that. It's like people.
If only we could have
All people talk about that way.
10 years without snappy dialogue. 10 years with
Yeah.
no one-liners. I know that's a weird thought, but like
I mean, one-liners wasn't really the problem. It's the snappy dialogue, if you know what I mean. Like being sarcastic all the time and like,
fair
oh,
enough.
I'm better than you. Like
Hmm.
That's what
the
I meant.
one-liners. Yeah, the one-liners.
Everybody needs to have the last word, you know.
Yeah, exactly. One-liners were cool, like a cool way to say something, but also kind of like a funny way, but in a different way than they think nowadays. They don't understand.
Fair enough.
Yeah, or like you remember like Total Recall, honey.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to kill me. I'm your wife. Bang. Consider that a divorce.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Or the classic at the end. See you at the party, Richter. He throws his arms.
Screw you, hey Betty. Screw you.
Yeah, exactly.
Verhoeven movies are usually full
Or
of
the
those kinds
one
of things.
Punisher movie where here it is, he goes after this mob family, and it's like, yeah, it's like, you killed my son. And then you hear an explosion in the background. Both of them.
Both of them. Thomas Jane, yeah.
Best Punisher movie ever.
Punisher Warzone, the late Ray Stevenson.
I like Warzone. I like
That
Warzone.
one is like, you know, it's been described as like Jason Voorhees with a gun. That's how that's.
Ray Stevenson deserved better.
I like Ray Stevenson
I didn't
more.
really care for Warzone. I liked it the first time, but when I rewatched it, it's like, okay, this isn't what I remember.
But it's the most Punisher movie, though.
It
But
definitely
that's-
is.
That's the
Yeah.
way Punisher is. That's the way he is. He's a killing machine.
Can't deny that.
Yeah, he's a guy who's declared total war on criminals.
Yeah. So yeah, that was taken from the Punisher Max series comics, the first one that has really similar panels, even from the movie and the comic book is very, very, very similar.
Yeah. Still, Thomas Jane did a real damn good job in that first one.
Yeah, but he did say he didn't get to do the Punisher how he wanted the Punisher to actually be in the comics. That's why he made that short film. A short. What was it called?
Laundry Day.
Laundry Day. Right.
Yeah, I did like
was
that
the
one bit.
Punisher.
I did like that one bit in the movie where he's, you know, it's the he's woken up after being, you know, the bad guys have attacked the apartment. He's got that one guy. He looks over to a paper cutter, goes, and the next thing you know, he's put it through the guy's head.
Right.
Yep.
That was the fun little moments. Like, oh, I'm gonna have fun with this.
The biggest thing I didn't like about that movie is the Three Stooges in it, or whether they were those, or was it 2 people, 3 people? That in the apartment building though.
Yeah. Those are
Those
from the
weirdos.
comics too, but yeah,
I know, but not every comic is good.
true.
That's true.
I just didn't like those characters. That was like
The only one I liked was
Boring.
was Rebecca Remigian as the
Romin
kind-
Stamos, yeah. Well, Romin now because she's divorced, but
Yeah, I just see it as it's interesting that they decided to give him a love interest like that. If
yeah.
only
Well,
Castle rarely ever has one.
they gave him a love interest that he could ignore.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, well, because he basically turns her down throughout the whole thing. So
Yeah, I just
in
mean,
Warzone.
I think that
Yeah.
what he needs is what I kind of liked about her was that in some ways she was like Alfred in how she tried to kind of restrain him in some ways.
yeah,
I
didn't
kind
work
of-
though.
I kind of think that's what Frank needs in the comics is that kind of restraining hand and whatnot.
Nah,
Punisher
Warzone
not
style.
very
Just
good.
kill everyone.
Yeah, that's boring.
No, yeah, I know. But there's got to be some kind of a story, obviously, impact. But I just, I thought the Thomas Jane movie, it veered too much into the typical Hollywood style of an like action. They I don't know. They forgot like what the Punisher actually is, like Thomas Jane said himself. So that's.
I kind of
That's,
like
my
that movie.
big-
Yeah, it was a good movie.
It's my biggest problem. It doesn't really feel like a Punisher movie. But the new TV series, I didn't really like. I didn't like that one. A lot of people. I don't like the actor. He's way too short. And he just reminds me of that Walking Dead character. So Shane.
Yeah,
I didn't like him at all.
And the thing about Frank Castle is he is supposed to be pretty tall.
Yeah, he wasn't intimidating. That was the problem with
Yeah.
John Bernthal. He didn't. He's just like he looked like a small puppy being angry. I mean, that's the feeling I got from him all the time. It's like, oh, I'm gonna show you. I'm so mad. I'm gonna show you. It's like, oh, the Punisher is more like the Reacher, you know. He's like
Jack
cool
Reacher. Yeah. I really hope they make another season of that. That was a good show.
Yeah, they're making it's coming this was it September?
Fucking A.
Yeah, that was a great show.
That is. Anyways, on with the movie.
On with the movie.
Yeah.
So then we get the
more innuendo.
The snake was doing something.
Yeah.
All right. Oh no! Wait! There was.
Needs to get that snake off her. And
oh no! Okay. I thought it was.
Zusha. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Zusha gets stabbed right about now.
Okay. Let's hear. Well, that's true that there could have been maybe a bit of a fight with Zusha here at the end. Maybe I don't know. Do you think it would have been? You think it would have been too much?
Yeah.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, in terms of like pure narrative, there's no real stakes for talent to take on Zusha because Zusha is only indirectly, responsible for the situation with his father and the loss of the kingdom and stuff like that. Zusha was just the weapon that Cromwell wielded and discarded, whereas Cromwell is the man who set him loose in the first place. So ultimately, his quarrel is done. Zusha is just a loose end that need to get stabbed through the heart there.
That's true. Maybe just a cooler way.
Yeah. And also note, he actually took the time to aim for the right vital organ before stabbing. That is some proper stabbing protocol right there for talent.
Yep. How do you know he has a heart there?
Stand to learn from him.
Yes.
Maybe his heart is somewhere else, though.
Oh, yeah, maybe his dextrocardia. Although since he's not getting up, that does tend to indicate that his heart was in the same place. He has heart in the right place.
And we get just scenes here at the banquet.
Yeah. Corpses of all the guards, all the injured people, just like, ugh, man, what a fight. Wish it could have been on camera.
Then we get the crown that falls down that is definitely not plastic.
Bonk. And it lands right at the right spot.
Yeah. Why the long face?
Good God, you've snatched the kingdom!
Yeah, and then everybody giving them the cry, Talon! Talon!
Talon! Talon! Talon!
Yeah.
That guy also narrated this whole movie, so he did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Micah, Simon McCorkindale.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I really like in the beginning the dialogue or his what did I say?
Narration.
Narration. I already forgot. And also in the trailer. So.
And he just slams that crown on his head.
Yeah, he's got to stare down at Talon for some reason.
Now it's like
all that goes with
it.
Yeah, Talon's like, I don't want that trouble.
Yeah. Enjoy the power with all the responsibility that comes with it. You're going to have to go through a lot of tax papers.
Zero cares. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's very comfortable with his rogue.
Being the leader of a mercenary army is enough for him.
Yeah.
That we do.
Yeah, he's...
Of course. Yeah, I'm just gonna swing around here, bang your sister.
With the Indiana Jones music.
It's like, yeah, that was fun.
Aye.
Hey.
I had sex.
it's a nice touch they went with this ending. They could have ended at the banquet, but
To save Lambocious Kingdom.
but it
Well, yeah, well, they couldn't
they-
really end
yeah,
there
yeah.
because they started out with him like taking this as this is all basically one big side quest to his main thing of going to save that other
Right,
kingdom.
yeah.
I
Which I
it
think
should
is
have
a good,
ended with the
well
banquet.
done.
I just think it should have ended with the banquet.
Nah, this is what.
You need your hero riding off into the sunset with all his pals,
yeah.
you know?
I
Yeah,
guess.
this is cooler.
Well, this is a pretty classic way of ending a film.
Yeah,
And the other review stream before, where it was cut off, I think I ended up commenting that Raiders of the Lost Ark perfected that kind of ending, and not Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Last Crusade.
Yeah, and Last Crusade perfected it, and more films should learn from that and show that sort of ending of, you know, the riders riding off into the sunset as the finale. There's no like next part. That's it. Story's over. The end. Le fin. You know, like c'est tout.
Yeah. Yeah, but the adventures continue. This adventure is over. There may be further adventures in coming from the past or the future, but right now this story is done.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't tell it in the credits. And the next adventure is coming, which unfortunately didn't. But you know,
Well, it did, just so far later that.
No, it didn't. We don't. It's like there's 3 Indiana Jones movies. So
Yeah.
well, I mean, you can watch the 4th. I mean, but you know, it's not really
Good.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but you know, it's not. But anyway, yeah, I like the ending because it just gives that sense of adventure. Like you said, the side. Actually, that's another part of this movie. That's a fantastic thing that they did. They gave it, the side quest became the thing here of the movie, but it's really just a side quest. It's not the main thing that the main character was going to do.
Yeah.
So that's a good story point plot way to basically show the story or tell the story. So
It kind of makes you wonder if he hadn't run into the princess when he did, would he have gone after Cromwell at all?
All right, yeah.
It's like maybe he was just
That's
like,
actually-
stopping in town just to see how things were going after all this time, getting keeping a
good
feel on the
point.
pulse of the place, seeing how things are going, maybe checking if there's opportunities, and then gets drawn into this whole thing and it's like,
Yeah, right.
all right, this is my time. This is what I'm going to do.
That's actually a good point because he didn't really seem invested. He was just like, let's just go here for a drink or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was his plan all along to just divert into the kingdom to do some mischief, maybe.
Well, as the Joker has said, do I look like a guy? Does this guy look like a guy with a plan?
No.
No.
Talon looks like a guy who definitely wings it. In
the Indiana Jones model of, I don't know, I'm just making this up as I go along.
Yeah,
I
classic
think
way.
the one who perfected that style of dealing with problems is Captain Jack Sparrow, but he's all but a
Conan.
lunatic character.
Conan
Him too.
did it as well.
Uh,
And we get that guy
yeah.
joining with the group.
It's like, hell yeah, I want to hang out with you. You guys are up badasses.
You always live.
Yeah.
I want to
I
hang
mean,
out.
wouldn't you want to hang out with the people who keep surviving through impossible odds? I mean, it's probably going to rub off on you a little bit.
I mean, wouldn't you want to be close to Conan in a battle?
Yeah, true.
You know, on
Maybe.
his side, I mean, not against him. On his side, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, wouldn't you want to be there? Like, he's gonna take care of it. Like, so they should not be so afraid recast actors to work for James Bond forever. They should reboot this story and just pick out after this on the coast. I watched in Harbor. True.
That would be one
They
way
could-
of doing it.
Absolutely, they could. I mean, this movie doesn't have that kind of pull, but I would be all up for if someone with actual interest would want to do an actually good movie based on talent. Would definitely. But anyway,
Let's be off. With the battle at the office. Kingdoms to save and women to love.
And there they go.
this is totally Indiana Jones, like Last Crusade vibes.
Yeah. Like you literally get the sunset and them, riding off there and the
music.
fade ins and outs like that. And
Yeah,
you're
a lot of-
talking over the music as much as possible to avoid copyright stuff.
Indy had a lot of good memories of that dog.
Yeah. Do.
I mean, come on,
Not
that is
taking any
really,
chances.
that is really Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Well, it's good adventure music. It's uplifting.
Yeah.
It's got some,
Yeah.
get up and go to it.
The adventure will continue, guys.
Yes, we're
Join
going
us.
off into further battles and great encounters and super glorious daring do and stuff like that. It's fun.
Exactly.
As he said, kingdoms to
Luke.
save, women to love.
Exactly.
Yeah. Classic stuff. But yeah. So that was The Sword and Sorcerer by Albert Pyun. Rest in peace. And that was really the point why we did it immediately here after the Conan the Barbarian movie, because we wanted to honor Albert Pyun and because of his passing. So why not do this great sword and sorcery movie?
Yeah.
As we talked about, it's one of Zero's favorite sword and sorcery movies. It's one of my favorites. So definitely wanted to do that because of that reason as well. But it was just bumped up here
To pay homage.
to pay homage to the man who did it. And
Yeah.
I gotta say, a great job he did.
Him
basically
and the
wrote
rest of the crew on this one, the cast, did an excellent
the
job.
cast, fantastic special effects.
Especially considering the small budget of the film. I mean, just there was barely any money on the, even for the time, this was a very low budget film.
and the music. I mean, the music could have been really crap,
hmm
and that would have really taken down the movie. But it wasn't. It was really good. It really.
The acting was really good. They got some, genuine actors who were able to put some genuinely
actors.
good performances. Yeah, character actors who were able to put genuinely good performances into their characters. They took their role seriously.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the Crumble guy, wasn't it some interview? He took it so seriously when he read the script, he thought it was going to be an Oscar. maybe not that.
No,
Maybe not that
no, they didn't have
Maybe
the
not that level.
funds to bribe the Oscars.
Ah.
I think that was a misunderstanding. Like,
They needed to dump a lot more of the budget in that.
Yeah, but he really
better to spend the budget on the coffin of Zusha and on Zusha. I say
Hey,
so. It was a budget
it
well
worked
spent
for me.
than on the Oscars.
Definitely. Fantastic movie, great set designs, like the coffin, sarcophagus, fantastic beginning. Really taking from a lot of great source material, basically. I mean, inspiration. Obviously, the Hour of the Dragon, Conan, beginning.
Hour of the Dragon.
Hour of the Dragon or the sword, the Phoenix on the sword kind of style as well. Some other, the Sorcerer
Storyboards for
that is needed. Good villain, evil king.
as well as references to others, swashbuckler film, classic swashbuckler films.
Indiana Jones kind of music, obviously inspiration from adventure movies.
Yeah, old adventure serials. That whole kind of vibe, that whole genre of the adventure film is very much like, this is a fantasy adventure film. That is very much where it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. But well placed, not too long. It really just moves along. But it has like what?
It's about what, an hour and 40?
No.
Hour 30 maybe.
I think
Yeah.
that's hour and wait, let me see.
What we need is for films to go back to that.
Hour and 35.
Oh, there you go.
Hour and 35.
Yeah, what we need is for films to go back to that kind of like time frame,
Concise.
because there's a virtue to it, because they're focusing more on the quality of the storytelling rather than the quantity. As movies have gotten too long and are basically wasting our time at this point with too many superfluous scenes.
Also, have memorable scenes.
Exactly.
Please.
Yeah.
For the love of all that is good, have memorable scenes. Also, for the love of all that is good, use the
better.
Use music. Use actually like Conan the Barbarian shows us. You do not have to have dialogue all the time, snappy dialogue. You can actually a movie and have a really emotional impact even without any words. That's why my favorite. Well, basically, my favorite scene is the killing of Conan's mother. The music there is like it goes like beyond. You get like I get chills in that scene. It just there's something really, and the way they zoom into James Earl Jones's eyes, and the otherworldliness of that. It's just there's
Something
Or
else.
that moment after he's down from the cross when he's recovered, like he's finally, off it, he's been resurrected, been healed, and Conan just looks, takes out the sword, does a quick practice move. Okay. Does the full thing at full speed, then just takes a moment to look at his wrists. Yeah. I'm back.
Something else they need to learn: dialogue in the foreground, music in the background.
Yeah.
I've had enough with movies today where you try to listen to the dialogue, but you hear the music instead. You don't hear the characters speak.
That's a problem with the
Sound
audio.
mixing, yeah.
And
I think you guys also need better speakers, but yeah,
that too. One thing I also think that we need them to go back to is the poetry of language. And what I mean is, you look at
you're very true on that. Very true.
Like one of my favorite lines in a movie or a miniseries or whatever was from Merlin 1998, my favorite cinematic experience, and where you have Merlin who says, "I heard the sword's song, and it was glorious." And of course, it's Sam Neill, so he could play every role. But the thing is, it's Merlin talking about the beauty and the perfection in the way of Excalibur. And it's a weirdly moving scene. So with more focus on the music and on the visuals, but the language used is very poetic. And that's very true of that movie. There's a poetry in the dialogue. And the idea, like the line, "There are kingdoms to save and women to love." There's a poetry to that line.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie to an extent, but on the other hand, that last line is important. And there's a spirit to it. And you've got your usual intro, World of Conan, of "It's a price I shall gladly pay" from Solomon.
The way that James Purfoy says that line, the emphasis on certain words, the choice of words, it all serves the purpose of the informing on the character and motivation and all that.
Yeah, and this is something that the script writers need to learn. And
it's totally lost.
And the actors need to learn to also savor the language to an extent. Sam Neill and James Purfoy come from a generation of actors who knew and understood this. And I forget his name, Ciaran something. The actor who played Caesar in Rome series.
Yeah.
He understood.
Oh, yeah.
Hinds.
Ciaran Hinds.
Oh, thank you. These are actors who know to savor the language in a way and say every line with a very particular emphasis on each word, as you pointed out, Zero. And
Alan Rickman.
Yeah. And it's something that I've, not to prop up too many old French actors, but it's something I remember being very fond of French actors doing in the in 80s and 90s movies. But
Hmm.
there's those. Oh, and Kevin Sorbo also has a habit of doing that at quite a few points. And I just think that they need to remember that that as an actor, you're saying a line. You're in a way reading a script, and that there is a beauty to the language. And
Yeah.
so the
I think it
poetry-
helps that a lot of these actors have a theatrical background or even a Shakespearean background, especially.
That's
Like,
Yeah.
people like Purfoy and stuff like that. And of
Gary
course,
Oldman.
the people in this movie as well, who also had, those kinds of backgrounds, lots of theatrical work, lots of Shakespearean work.
So
If you're doing like Macbeth or Hamlet or Midsummer's Night's Dream, you're going to learn to love that language and say it with, have those honeyed words just pour over your tongue.
Yeah, I think what we need is for English directors and screenplay writers and actors is to return to Shakespeare, while the French ones need to return to Molière, Alex Dumas, and whatnot, and return to the classical linguistic roots and just mine
especially
that.
for this kind of movie.
Yeah, but I think the line, it's the most adventure movie style line I've ever heard. There are kingdoms to save and women to love.
Yeah.
I know you go
There's a
on.
battle at the altar. Kingdoms to save and women to love.
That reminds me, 13th Warrior, the end speech where they all, I see my
the prayer there.
My ancestors hearken me back. Oh, dude.
Or even just Antonio Banderas' ending narration, where he's like, writing. He's finally writing down his adventures after returning back to his homeland. It's like, I offer my prayers to these men in pagan lands who have shared their food and spilled their blood in my company, so that I may be a greater servant to God and stuff like that. And that was damn good writing in that movie too.
Yeah.
Like that really goes back to the what you were saying, like language, the poetry of language, or the writing,
the poetry of language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is very true. And like, you don't have to always talk. You can have like scenes that speak, or I mean, you can show the story with scenes and music. But I think that's the problem. Like the music, they've thrown that out. Like they don't understand nowadays. I mean, that the music is a character, and you can like use the music to tell the scene as well, and implement it into it.
And the music helps flesh out the
characters and the story and stuff. Yeah.
The character of the movie, because the continuous tapestry of music and the and in turn the song of the visuals need to weave together along with the poetry of language. And
it provides the emotional core of the visuals that you're seeing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's still some people who still do language well. There's the people who did the TV series Deadwood. If you listen to it, it's being done in iambic pentameter. A lot of the dialogue, especially like some of Swearengen's monologues and stuff like that, is literally being done in iambic pentameter, just like a Shakespeare play.
Right. I just kind of dropped out of too much swearing.
To be fair, that was another. But see, that's the thing. That was also a deliberate choice. If you used the swearing that was consistent with that time period, we'd think it was just quaint and cute. So they had to update that part to really give the right feel and tone for it. And it's the same thing for like something like Spartacus, that TV series on Stars, where they literally had them speaking English in a Latin, an old Latin context. So instead of saying thank you, they'd say gratitude. Instead of saying, the way things are, the way the sentence structure is done is Latin instead of English. So you get that same feeling. It's that same thing of using the dialogue, not just to inform, but also to create the feel of things.
Yeah, but the music thing is so lost. Can you think of any movie in the last 20 years that has a scene, like a really impactful scene with just the music, but it's telling the story and moving it forward? I just can't think of any.
Doesn't really come to mind, does it?
No.
I just can't really think of any. I mean, Dune had some, but it wasn't really there was always dialogue almost
Yeah,
immediately.
there was that one scene in Dune where going hamburger, hamburger, hung ding gong gong.
Wait, what?
Well, somebody decided to do lyrics for that scene with the Sardaukar when they're getting anointed as like hamburger, hamburger, helper, helper, hamburger, helper, macaroni, or
Because
something,
7,000
some
years,
bullshit like that. It was funny as hell.
because like 5,000 to 7,000 years in the future, humanity will know to honor the hamburger.
Ham-
Wait,
hamburger,
I got it
hamburger.
right here. Give me a
Well-
sec.
Maybe Interstellar.
No, Interstellar was.
It's hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper, hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper.
Well, I know of one show that has excellent music from recent times. Gallivant.
Oh yeah, Gallivant was great.
Wait, what?
Gallivant.
Says
It's
nothing to me.
It's a spoof of like Tijan of like A Knight in Shining Armor.
Oh,
breaking a song.
but you
and-
said movie. You said movie.
oh
It's
yeah.
a TV show.
TV show.
Yeah.
Flip of the tongue.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
just
know
dropped the
Gallivant,
link in
yeah.
the chat. It's funny as hell.
Yeah, Gallivant was good.
A bunch of super soldiers getting anointed with the blood of sacrifice victims. Hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac Whopper.
You could have shared it here. Wait,
I just did. It's in the chat.
no, but I mean in the in streaming or something. But yeah,
Okay, well, actually, wait a sec. If I can share
let me
my
see.
screen.
I can share. I can share it. I can share it. Let's see.
I have to listen to it later and see if it's.
Can you hear it?
Hamburger hum, hamburger, hamburger, hamburger hum, hamburger, hamburger, hamburger hum, hamburger, hamburger, hamburger hum.
Do you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, this was the wrong one. Anyway, I think
Hamburger,
this one.
Hamburger, cheeseburger, 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 Big Mac, Big Mac, Big Mac, Big Mac. What?
That's a good joke. I didn't think about that. But that is, I think that is the closest movie that I actually felt like Villeneuve has like artistic flair, actually has an artistic flair, and I really liked his Blade Runner movie, so I really like that movie. So Lord of Lex's Interstellar. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. The part where it's spinning. Yeah, that was pretty good. But also Lord of Lex says, "Hey guys, thanks. These movie breakdowns are really fun to watch. Thank you that you are here, Lord of Lex. Big hat to you that you're here. We got someone who's giving comments.
I've never seen Fire and Ice, but before we do
Yeah,
that,
we gotta do that.
we got to do Conan the Destroyer. We got to totally trash that movie.
No, not totally trash that movie.
Mostly trash that movie.
Mostly
Somewhat.
trash.
I mean,
That one in Red Stone, we got to trash and then praise Call the Conqueror.
No.
Absolutely, almost complete.
Look, if we're going to be destroying Conan the Destroyer, we're also going to be conquering Call the Conqueror. Let's face the facts. Okay, I'm just going to say this. Call the Conqueror is not as good as Conan the Destroyer.
No, better. Way better.
Far better.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're quite an anomaly here, Corinne, in that most people don't think of Call the Conqueror movie.
I like almost.
As,
I like Kevin Sorbo in almost everything.
It was a great movie.
Exactly. You're kind of biased.
It was fun. Yeah, we're one on that one for once. Usually we do movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's no Beastmaster, but we're going to do it.
I mean, we got to be a bit lenient to the Destroyer. I mean, there's only 2 Conan movies, so basically, yeah,
3 technically if you look at Redstone, you're cross-eyed.
That's a good way to put it. What is your name? Kalidor?
Prince Calidor. That's me.
Oh, my name is Kalidor. We didn't get the rights. But the big problem with Conan the Destroyer is obviously why they choose the director who thought the best thing about that was to show Arnold's muscles. That was the whole point. Okay, you're way off base already. It's like you see in the Conan the Barbarian movie, John Milius didn't. That wasn't the focal point.
Yeah,
in the movie, he's in different garb, specifically in Harkanian armor. In the middle point of the movie, especially,
I'm
it
gonna
really
have
stands
to
out.
drop out. So just gonna
let's just shortly just wrap up. Your thoughts on the movie, Brother Screen. We go with you first since you're gonna leave.
Still kind of mad towards it. I like the ending line.
It was okay, good for introduction to fantasy.
No, for
Good point. Were there some good things?
Well,
do you like the beginning?
Yeah, I love the beginning. The beginning and the ending are good.
What do you think about like in comparison to new movies? I mean, this is pretty good if you compare it to some like Marvel trash.
Well, come on.
Like
You're comparing it to a steaming pile.
But I'm just
like,
trying to.
The difference is
you're just trashing it.
Trying to make a movie they were trying to make a movie and they're having fun along the way.
There's some good points. I mean,
today's movies, the directors and the committees and whatnot are deliberately trying to make bad movies. So, like. When you try to see in this movie show, when you deliberately sabotage your own flick and just say I'm going to make the trashiest, worst thing imaginable, you're going to succeed. So I think that today's directors and committees are very talented at making bad movies.
Well, when you use a name like Love and Thunder.
No, that's a porno.
Yeah, that's true. The name really was like,
yeah, you're making a porno. I seriously thought I'm going to be honest. When Dan first told me the title for that movie, I remember going, no, like, what's the new title for the Thor movie? And he said, no, Joe. And then he showed me, and I went, it's not. Is it a porno?
I couldn't help but think, because they used to want to show WandaVision. WandaVision. Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't have like a 70s music in it. So
yeah,
kind of was.
So like this movie, at least you can have fun. You can enjoy the visuals of the intro, like with the Zusha.
It has like points in the movie, like beginning, middle, and
it's a well-told story.
And at least the villain, like King,
even two.
At least the actor plays him in a memorable manner, and you got the hot shots and whatnot. So, while this is not going to make it to my top like 50 favorite fantasy movies or favorite movies of all times, it's at least a watchable experience. It's not whatever the hell Marvel is at this point, or actually any Marvel movie after Iron Man. Because I hate every Marvel movie after Iron Man. They're the same movie with the same character, and it's just on repeat. And so I think
my favorite
Marvel movie is torture. I'd rather
my favorite Marvel movie. Yeah, my favorite Marvel movie is Blade, and that's it.
The original Marvel movie.
Yep, that's
Marvel
the best
movie.
one.
I
saw it in the theaters.
Damn mind.
I saw it in the theaters. Imagine a teenager going to see it in the theaters for the first. I had no clue what Blade was. Absolutely zero clues.
Yeah, and then when Wesley Snipes walks in on that blood.
Yeah, exactly. With the long black leather coat, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
the
man,
bulletproof
this is
armor, the
so
sword
cool.
is like, oh
Yeah. It was. I was
shit.
blown away. Like it's like mind blown. It was so cool. I had to buy it. I went to Norway or something, and I bought the VHS tape. I just
As one
wanted to
does.
have them. Yeah, because it wasn't released in Finland. We had some weird rating system back then.
Mm.
Couldn't buy 18 movies.
The Finns, of course.
Yeah. So to you, Zero, your summary of the movie.
My summary of the movie is that this is an example of what you can do with a small budget, or at least what you could do with a very small budget, a bunch of talent, and gumption. Just getting a good crew together, getting a good cast together, pooling your resources, and really making a very good movie, and having it pay dividends. This was the most successful independent film of that year, and it made like 10 times its own budget back. That is very impressive for that kind of thing.
What I think that would be nice is if now a lot of fan films do something similar. Some of them get pretty good, especially in the horror genre and the slasher genre. But it'd be interesting to see maybe a fantasy, like a crew come together and make a fantasy film and try to aim pretty high like this one.
Yeah.
And, because
I've seen a lot of more amateur, indie films that try to do fantasy. One, they film on digital and they don't know how to composite their color correct or composite do their lighting, and it looks cheap as fuck. Like cheaper. It looks like shit. It's that terrible kind of digital camera lighting.
Their scripts are shit. And their scripts are shit.
Oh, yeah.
And their actors are shit most of the time too. It's like, oh, what do you do here? And it's like, dude, take yourself a little bit seriously, man. This is going to be seen by people. You're not showing this to your mom.
The only
go to actor school and get people.
The only decent fantasy films I've been told or fan films that are good are the Lord of the Rings ones, like Born of Hope and whatnot. I've not seen any of those, but I've been told they were good. But I'd like to see some decent sword and sorcery or fantasy films, told like you can make an entire sword and sorcery series of fan films. Why not go for it? But get the talent, get the passion, and whatnot. You could do a lot of good Conan stuff if you can get someone decent without a weird wig. And you could do Lord of the Rings. You could do so much with a good budget, or even a non-budget.
Yeah. Well, ideally, you'd be doing it with your own IP, so you don't have the risk of somebody from corporate coming down with you with a box of rocks.
Exactly, and it is possible to make them. And heck,
you hit nail on the head with the digital thing. The cheapness, the look, the digital thing. Yeah, that's
It does not age well, especially if you're using a lot of CG for stuff like that.
Yeah.
You want to go for as much practical stuff as possible, simply because that is what's going to give you the best long-term results.
Yeah,
and
location
and work on music as well.
Work on music.
Make
sure you have people who take their role seriously.
The shots.
On one of those music programs, I've actually seen 8-year-olds actually do some pretty good stuff on some of those programs. So if an 8-year-old can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, and they work for peanuts.
Literally.
Yes. 8-year-olds. Look at just think about it. 8-year-olds will work for very little if you're willing to know what they want.
You pay them in literal peanuts.
Literal peanuts, packing peanuts.
Yeah,
you give them a box of packing peanuts, they'll do what you want. It's like, yay, we got treasure.
So
Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
So what you're saying?
M&Ms.
So what you're saying?
A puppy.
So
Just get them a puppy.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, Zero, is this movie should be made in China,
or Central Africa. I mean, I'm sure the lithium mines can pass as a couple of kids.
Okay.
That was a child. That was a child labor joke. If no one got
child slavery joke. Let's be clear.
Yeah. Well, semantics at this point.
But this movie is alongside Beastmaster and the original Conan the Barbarian, which is I think we can all agree the original Conan the Barbarian is probably the best sword and sorcery movie to ever come out of the 80s.
Yeah.
or ever. There isn't really a.
Yeah, there's really nothing that's been able to top it, really.
No,
and then I've got, Beastmaster and this one as my number 2 and 3 slots, and they interchange depending on, my mood. And then you've got other ones like, Fire and Ice, Conquest by Lucio Fulci is probably in my top 5.
Would you put Krull in this?
Krull, it's a really, really good fantasy movie. I'm not necessarily sure I put it in exactly in the same kind of genre as these ones, but it's definitely a very good one too. It's just weird as hell, which I kind of enjoyed in its own right.
Yeah, you're correct. Kind of like, is it no, it's probably more fantasy movie, right?
It's a sci-fi fantasy movie. You literally have a giant cosmic horrors coming from space to, unleash an army of warrior slugs in powered armor.
I mean, that's not. Conan stories, Lovecraft, and all that. Monsters. So that's not really.
This was back. Those were written back in the day where sci-fi, fantasy, and horror were pretty much interchangeable. There were the direct categorizations made for publishing companies weren't really created yet, so it was all weird tales, as it were.
But yeah, for my opinion, it's I'm pretty much in the same boat as Zero. This is a fun movie. It's got fantastic villains, 2 of them. The Count is really a steam sealer. Cromwell is really a steam sealer. Talon does a really great roguish, charming guy, and is not the stereotypical, like we talked about, buff guy or like a straight hero in that sense that he just, I'm going to just do this or go one way. But he's interesting. He has led a life, or you get that sense of him at least. The music is great, really, like we talked about, Indiana Jones-esque music, adventure music, harking back to old serials and adventure serials, and stuff like that. Lighting is really good. The composition of the shots, I like the operatic of the whole movie. The knowing how to do memorable scenes, like the capture of Talon by Cromwell, really nicely done. The resurrection of Zusha. Yeah, the resurrection of Zusha, fantastic. The fight at the banquet, the crucifixion, the end battle, fantastic. The realization of Talon to Cromwell, fantastic. The reveal of Zusha being the Count and stuff like that. There's when you think about it, there's quite a lot going on in this movie, and great stuff that really pays off, which a well story should. So even if this movie gets a lot of flack, probably because people see it as cheesy or something like that, but it kind of depends on how you think about it.
Point on Nollywood, like Nigerian. I've seen a few. I'm a fan of quite a few out.
Oh, but if you want to laugh, check YouTube. Compilation of funny movies.
Well, I'll just say that some of the best actors do come out of Africa or Asia, in my opinion. So, like Japan, Africa, and Britain tend to breed the best actors in the world.
But there's some hilariously bad African sci-fi or whatever. Man, I laughed at. But anyway, like I was saying, just wrapping up the movie's great. I really like the atmosphere of the movie.
Yeah,
great narration by Lord Micah. Guy fits it like a T. The whole thing has that mystery sense about it. So, yeah. I would say Conan the Barbarian, Beastmaster, and this movie is probably in the top 3. I don't know. I got to think about other movies. Obviously, there's Fire and Ice, though.
Yeah, that one's a damn good contender for really, really good, too.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. We got to watch that. And
if Conan is S tier, then Fire and Ice, this, or Beastmaster just below it, and then you have a whole bunch of other movies. The movie Conquest by Lucio Fulci is also a bit more hit and miss in certain areas, but
I tried to watch it, but I don't know. I couldn't get it.
It's not for everybody, that's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, Lord Elect wants to see when we're going to discuss Fire and Ice. Well, pretty soon, I would think, in regards to the movies. My only problem kind of with Fire Ice was they cut out so much of it, and this is recorded that they cut out like hour and a half from the movie, so all the world building is taken out. You don't really know about the Fire Clan and the Ice Clan anything, and that kind of like bump, like you don't really get the the world building. So that's kind of my problems with the movie. Otherwise, fantastic looking one. Just see what Lord Lex said. Speaking of Fire Ice, Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yeah, they've been doing quite a lot. The Frazetta girls, Frank Frazetta's daughters, are doing quite a lot with his IPs nowadays. Death Dealer and they're making comics. I mean, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
So anyway, I guess that's about it. Great movie. Go watch it if you like Sword and Sorcery. This is definitely a watch. You probably already watched it, but still, if you haven't watched it, give it a go and see if you like it. If you
the truth is, none of us have actually watched the movie.
Yeah. That would be kind of hilarious. It's like we just faked everything.
Yes, nothing is real.
Well,
we just talk about like we know it.
Except for the odd stunt, because Zero does his own stunts. The rest of us don't.
So does Gary.
Yeah, we have a stunt double.
I don't think I actually showed this thing off close up. You give me 1 sec, because this thing is pretty cool.
We also have snot doubles.
Look at this thing.
Oh, that's huge.
Carved from bone.
Wow.
That is good.
Yeah, the Alien versus Predator movie was shit, but it certainly inspired the Mexican tourism industry to raise the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So if ever you're around the area of Teotihuacan, you can grab one of these babies.
Those sequels to Alien vs. Predator was so bad. Oof.
Well, Alien vs. Predator was already pretty bad. It wasn't that much of a jump.
I just meant it went even more downhill. It went way downhill afterwards, even more. It was really bad. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for today, and we're gonna return with
Hour of the Dragon.
Hour of the Dragon, yes, we're gonna return with that.
And the Destroyer, Fire and Ice, you name it.
Yeah, Conan the Destroyer is gonna be the next one. I think everyone's kind of
been dying for,
waiting for that one. So
very excited to see what Zero's got to say about Hour of the Dragon.
Right, we got to do that.
Made of words.
What?
It is made of words. That is what I have to say.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, we're gonna do Conan the Destroyer next for Movies of Steel. After that, I guess the logical thing would be Red Sonja if everyone wants, but we can skip that and do something else though. We don't have to do Red Sonja because it's not.
Yeah, although having Arnold Schwarzenegger, wrestling with a giant mechanical fish monster is kind of fun.
Yeah,
that's true.
Anyways, don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button, everyone. Not just on this channel, but also go subscribe at Zero's channel and ours.
Only on this channel, please. Don't go to these other channels.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we are unworthy. All likes to World of Conan.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Nowhere else. Conan is one. Go to all these other guys and unsubscribe. No, I mean subscribe.
Subscribe and like.
Yeah. And check out the Brothers Crin. They do a lot of great stuff.
Thank you. And remember, what is best in life, Conan?
Unsubscribe.
To see your enemies driven before you.
And to get swole.
The reputation of their woman.
Man. What is best in life? To unsubscribe.
To unsubscribe from their channels. Oh wait. Okay. Okay.
To hear their lamentation.
Oh, no, I know. I got it. What is best in life? To touch grass, to unsubscribe from their channels, and to hear the lamentation of their influencers.
Yes, that is a very good one, and one that should be honored. People should touch grass. Get out more. Way too insulated with all this stuff.
Yeah, he says he's about to spend the next couple hours playing the new System Shock remix so I can get review footage.
Wait, the new System Shock is out? Really?
Yeah.
Anyways, see you guys around.
I never played it.
Yeah, see you guys around too.
Yes, see you guys. Till next time. Hails. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna jump out of this stream. I'm just gonna find my where's my outro? How am I missing my outro?
Well, you didn't have the intro up, so you probably didn't bring it up.
Right. Let me see. Oh, there we go.
It is a price I shall gladly pay.